Let me call upon the chairperson of the Select Committee on County Public Investment and Special Funds to issue a statement pursuant to Standing Order number 56-1.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Honorable Speaker, I rise pursuant to Standing Order 56-1A to make a statement on the activities of the County Public Investment and Special Funds Committee for the period commencing 4th October 2022 to date. Mr. Speaker, the County Public Investment and Special Funds Committee is established under Standing Order 194 of the Senate Standing Order and is mandated to A, examine the reports and the accounts of the county public investment, and B, to examine the reports, if any, of the Auditor General on the county public investment. The committee is expected to interrogate the public investment and special funds that exist in counties, both in the county executive and county assemblies. The county investment largely comprise water companies, while county funds include car loans and mortgage funds, emergency funds, education funds, enterprise fund, among others. The Office of the Auditor General has been tabling audit reports of more than 80 water companies and 200 funds in the Senate from 2014 to 2015. I think that's when devolution started. Honorable Speaker, this is a new committee that was mandated in the 13th Parliament following a resolution made by the Senate in the 12th Parliament to split the then County Public Accounts and Investment Committee, CPIC, into two committees. That is the CPAC and CPIC. Honorable Speaker, I wish to give a brief synopsis of how the split came into being. In the fulfillment of its mandate, the County Public Accounts and Investment Committee, CPIC, invited governors to appear before it to respond to audit queries raised by the Office of the Auditor General. However, at the start of the second Senate, the county governors were hesitant in appearing before CPIC, asserting that the oversight role with respect to expenditure by the county government is vested upon the county assemblies in accordance with the provisions of Article 185(3) of the Constitution, and further arguing that the governor of a county was not an accounting officer. This matter ended up in court, where a ruling was given in favor of the Senate. Following an appearance by governors before CPIC at the initial stages of the Senate of the 11th Parliament, there was serious backlog in the consideration of audit reports. Upon commencement of examination of the reports, the committee prioritized audit reports of the county executive and county assemblies that had higher fiduciary risk. This meant that there were audit reports of various county investments and funds which were not scrutinized by the committee, yet they had been tabled in the Senate. This is what necessitated the split of the committee so as to ensure the efficient consideration of audit reports that were tabled in the Senate. Honorable Speaker, since its inception, the committee has held a total of 6 sittings within the precincts of Parliament to consider matters within its mandate. At its first sitting, the committee conducted the election of the chairperson and the vice chairperson, whereby Senator Professor Tomo Ojenda, Senior Council MP, was elected the vice chair, and I was elected the chair. The committee therefore proceeded to consider its mandate and legislative business before it, and noted that the Office of the Auditor General had been tabling reports of county investments and funds in the Senate since the financial year 2014-2015 to date, and they had not been considered. The committee has resolved to expedite the consideration of the audited reports and in the process of inviting governors to respond to the numerous audit queries raised by the Auditor General. On the following statements, the Ozaya Mukurweni Water Services Company, which we met them today, Mr. Speaker, the Nairobi City Water and Sewerage Company was scheduled to appear before us tomorrow. The Narok Water and Sewerage Services Company, which is supposed to appear before us on 6th of December. Kisumu County Car and Mortgage Scheme, and the Kisumu Water and Sanitation Company, who is scheduled to appear before us on the 7th December. However, Mr. Speaker, the county government of Nyeri has since sought a clarification from the committee on the concept of two-tier oversight system, where the county assembly has the first tier oversight role, whereas the Senate has the final tier oversight role in line with the Supreme Court ruling. The committee is presently considering the matter. We have just met the team from Nyeri County. Honorable Speaker, the committee has also considered the matter of regional blocks, economic blocks, and established, and I would wish members to pay keen interest to this, that they form a significant part of county investment and thus fall within its oversight role. The committee observed that county governments are in geographical proximity to each other, have pulled together to establish county regional blocks. The committee further observed that some counties belonged to more than one block, whereas others belonged to none. The committee resolved to consider the matter of blocks and wrote to the Council of Governors on the following. 1, the number of established economic blocks, their membership, their legal status, and the policy framework behind their establishment. 2, the functions of the regional blocks, their sources of funding, and the projects undertaken by each block. 3, the list of projects initiated by the regional economic blocks, their status, and the amount of funds allocated to each project. The Council of Governors have responded and submitted that there are 7 established regional blocks with the full-fledged secretariat. There are insufficient legal and policy framework to promote regional economic integration between county governments. 3, a draft national policy on the establishment of the regional economic blocks by county government was awaiting cabinet approval. 4, some counties such as Tana River, Lamu, Trans Nzoia, Turkana were members of more than one block, while Nairobi County was not a member of any block. Mr. Speaker, further, the committee observed that the regional blocks were receiving funds from member counties and donor partners, but were not being audited by the Office of the Auditor General. Yet there existed no other available alternative for their oversight. This has resulted in the regional economic blocks operating without checks and balances. The committee resolved to write to the respective chief executive officers of regional economic blocks seeking clarification on the following: when each block was formed, the status of approval of the county assembly of the respective counties forming and joining the regional economic blocks. 3, information on their budgets, activities they have undertaken, finances they have received so far from member counties and from donors, a list of development partners engaged by each block, and the amount received from donors since establishment. And then lastly, information on how the blocks have accounted for the funds received. Mr. Speaker, this is a serious matter because these blocks continue to operate without any legal mechanism in place, and they continue receiving money which are not audited by the Auditor General. Mr. Speaker, the committee is also scheduled to have a meeting with the regional economic blocks and to conduct familiarization visit to some of these blocks. Honorable Speaker, the committee is slated to conduct its work planning induction retreat in February and aims at engaging the stakeholder. The committee also plans to conduct fact-finding mission to various counties, prioritize given investment that are facing huge fiduciary risks. With those few remarks, Honorable Speaker, I submit. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Yes, Majority.